good afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to welcome all those who are listening on radio via WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio. We've got 100.5 FM out of Labby in Grenville. We have Rampoon Radio out of Delaware in the United States. And of course, we have the NDC Facebook online platform and also YouTube. So, welcome to another NDC episode for another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada. What we're going to be doing today is to share with you a recent press conference which was held by the Commission of Police, and it's extremely informative. It gives a comprehensive overview as to what has been happening over the past year in Grenada. And Grenada continues to shine as one of the most safest islands in the Caribbean. You will hear it for yourself from the Commission as he gives some of the statistics in relation to this matter. So, stay with us. We'll be back with you in a moment.
You have chosen unity over disunity. You have chosen resilience, flexibility, inclusiveness and strength over infighting, weakness, vacillation, or wish-washiness. You have chosen boldness and courage over timidity and the same old, same old. You have chosen positive change and transformation. You have sent a clear and resounding message to the tri-island state of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada that the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of inspiring hope and belief in our people and in our nation. That the National Democratic Congress is once more on the path of beginning the process of creating a sustainable and brighter future for our young, vibrant, creative, and innovative population. You have recognized and honored and rewarded the tremendous contributions made by all of the NDC stalwarts. And for this superb choice, I say thank you.
Grenada is moving forward, and the young people like you are at the heart of it. The National Democratic Youth Movement is all about connecting, learning, and making real impact. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger, to grow, to lead, and shape the future while making a difference. If you are ready to step up, have your voice heard, and help build a better Grenada, then the National Democratic Youth Movement is the organization for you. Join us because you are the future.
Good morning again, Grenada. It is indeed a pleasure to host this morning's press conference. My name is Neela Etienne, Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. This morning, I want to welcome the distinguished members of the Royal Grenada Police Force and, of course, the media. Welcome to this year, the last press conference for 2025, again hosted by the Royal Grenada Police Force. Today, we reflect on the past year, 2025, a year marked by progress, resilience, and transformation. In our commitment, of course, to safeguarding the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. The press conference this morning will provide highlights of 2025 and outline some of our plans for 2026. Joining me this morning again is the Commissioner of Police, Randy Connaught, Deputy Commissioner, Jesmond Prince, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Vanny Cohen, and Assistant Superintendent of Police, Randall Batiste of the Traffic Department. I now hand you over to our Commissioner of Police, Randy Connaught, for his opening comments.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and Opportunity to express season's greetings to our viewers, both home and in the diaspora, and a very special good morning to members of the media who are now tuned on to this press brief. I must say that having completed a full circuit after being appointed to the position of Acting Commissioner of Police on the 16th of December 2024, for me it has been a really exciting journey. I want to first thank the men and women of the Royal Grenada Police Force for their service, their commitment, and staying true to the oath of office. I sincerely thank you for your service. To my executive and senior commanders, your stellar leadership and strategic guidance to the RGPF in ensuring that the security and law enforcement mandate was successfully executed was truly realized over the past year. I'm really excited this morning to provide an overview of some of our accomplishments, but I'll set the stage. And I just want to warn you off that the statistics and the data don't lie. My colleagues will reference some of the data, and it's a very good place to be, not just for an organization, because you'd realize collectively this effort was as a result of the joint collaboration and the partnership of the RGPF, the communities and stakeholders, and of course, both regional and international partners. 2025 was a steady year of progress, resilience, and transformation. Thank you, Mr. Etienne, for that. He actually stole my line. Across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, the RGPF focused heavily on strengthening public safety while modernizing and aligning our operational priorities and service delivery that is consistent to international best practices. 2025 was a year where collaboration between officers and communities and regional partners really made a difference, and I believe the force emerged stronger and much more prepared for the future. Our priorities were clear from the onset. They were anchored in our strategic pillars, with community policing being the cornerstone. The RGPF focused on capacity building, officer welfare, intelligence-led policing, and strengthening partnerships. While emerging threats required flexibility, the core priorities remained constant. What shifted was the pace, particularly in technology, training, and regional cooperation, which were accelerated to meet real-time challenges. We recognize the changing security environment, and we had to be sufficiently agile to adapt and advance our policing strategies to retard the efforts of criminal actors. Crime prevention was at the core of our strategy, and community engagement was the vehicle that took us through the process. What stood out is that Grenada maintained relatively low levels of serious crime. We recorded 10 homicides, with only 3 being gun-related, which compares favorably to that which currently exists in other member states right here within our region. That outcome reflects strong intelligence work, proactive policing, and meaningful public cooperation. I want to hasten here to say that our efforts throughout 2025 has been accelerated to the direction of progress, resilience, and commitment. Given the fact that every major undertaking of the RGPF, we started off, we had major events such as the Active Summit, one of the big ticket items. We had our cricket, and most importantly, Spice Month 25 is now in the record books based on the security efforts and collaborative partnerships that we experience with all of our stakeholders, to the extent that today, from my understanding, subject to correction though, all accommodation has been booked out for 2026. So 2026 is another major undertaking for the RGPF, and I want to reassure and assure the public we are committed to the task ahead and we will execute beyond your expectations. This, in mind, having been said, is the confidence that is placed in us by not just our residents and our citizens living in the diaspora, visitors alike. And I was thrilled and intrigued having going through Facebook postings and comments made coming out of Spice Month 25. Visitors were particularly raising the whole issue of police security, and they saw that it was not just the RGPF, it was Grenada taking security to the next level. So at this stage, I want to thank the general public again. And you may hear this being repeated over and over during this press conference by not just myself, but my colleagues here. This is the way we see policing going forward. We are actually policing to the benefit of our citizens, because citizen safety will remain the focal point. Now, intelligence-led policing allowed us to be proactive rather than reactive. By analyzing patterns and sharing information across units and agencies, we disrupted criminal activity early, particularly in relation to firearms and repeat offenders. This approach also helped in our deployment of resources, and we were more effective and more deliberate in our efforts in treating with incidents of crime and reducing fear of crime in our communities. We saw improvements in several communities where targeted patrols, community engagement, and focused intelligence-led operations were applied. These gains were driven by collaboration between divisional commanders, community leaders, and residents working together towards safer neighborhoods. Our officers rose to every challenge with professionalism and discipline, from large-scale national and regional events to daily operational demands. Public safety remained at the core of our priorities. Their performance reflects strong leadership, training, and commitment to duty. During the process, we learned the importance of adaptability, collaboration, and early intelligence, interagency coordination, and continuous skills development. And going forward, we will place even greater emphasis on technology, inter-unit coordination, and strengthening leadership at all levels. Regional and law enforcement cooperation was critical to our success. As we can all appreciate, crime does not respect borders. So our partnerships through CARICOM Impacts, the RSS, and international agencies, our approach had to be comprehensive, given the dynamics of crime and its global connections. The fight against firearm trafficking, narco-trafficking, and transnational organized crime, and maritime security will more effectively be pursued if as a collective rather than a singular agency. For us, our resources are quite limited. So these collaborations will further enhance our national, regional, and obviously, by extension, our global security emphasis. We also shared and valued the outcome of information sharing and situational awareness. This provided greater operational outcomes. Our joint land and maritime operations helped disrupt illicit activities while also providing our officers with valuable exposure to regional best practices. As I conclude, I wish to place on record the overwhelming public cooperation. This was essential to our success. Through town hall meetings, community programs, and ongoing engagement, citizens played a vital role in crime prevention and detection. Community policing was the foundation of our approach and will remain going into the future. I just want to highlight as I close a couple of investments that we made, significant to our own outlook on how we treated with crime, and obviously which allowed for the success that we received this year. Significant investment was placed in capacity building, developing the competencies of specialized areas of specialized skills that was critically lacking. This came about obviously through a gap analysis. We had to do an in-depth study as to where we were as an organization and where we needed to be. So significant investment went into technology also. Capacity building technology actually worked hand in hand, and now we have a fully operational digital forensic unit, and we will continue to build out as the technology advances. Our drone unit, which stood with just a mere one drone a couple of years ago, now we have a full suite of drones, qualified drone pilots, and we are actually in training mode where an additional set of pilots are being trained as we speak. So this is progress, and progress will continue. Maritime safety is also a big ticket item, and we definitely have to look at what is happening in our space. Maritime security with the launch of the blue economy, this is an obvious inject that was woefully lacking. Prime Minister in the recent budget presentation announced the acquisition, Grenada's acquisition of an offshore platform vessel. I must say here, the design concept and everything that went into the outlook of that vessel came from right within this building under the stewardship of ACP John Charles and the administrative team. And we are grateful for him. He's not with us this morning, but certainly, Mr. Charles, we extend our sincere appreciation to you. Grenada recognizes your effort, given the fact that you returned from retirement to support the effort. So, as always has been said, once a police, always a police. And we are grateful to have Mr. Charles on board with all of the other senior commanders. I must place on record also the support that we have been receiving over the years from our group of retirees. They have been playing a critical role, and we cannot move forward without recognizing them. They are also part of the family and will continue to remain part of the family. But obviously, the citizens, the corporate community, and all and sundry, and our visitors, we cannot again state and mention our visitors who feels that Grenada is one of the safest places. And while we do have our fair share of crime, when Mr. Cohen gets to the statistics, you would realize how much has contracted because of our deliberate efforts. And what would happen going into the future as we crunch all the figures, because we still have 6 more days to go. This is a critical period for us. We're holding our breath. But we're still confident that with the support that we have been getting from members of the public, Grenada by and large, we would see and realize a very successful year 2025, where we can report, hopefully in very early January, major accomplishments, not just by the RGPF, but by each and every citizen who contributed to our efforts. And I would end here and obviously be available for the discussions going forward. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. What a year for the RGPF. Thank you for those highlights. And now I move to Assistant Commissioner of Police, Vanny Cohen, for some comments.
Thank you very much, Press Secretary. And good morning to all of you listening and viewing us in Grenada, across the diaspora. Thank you to all police officers for their efforts in 2025. As Press Secretary has just said, what a year. We have had a very significant year in 2025, and we have seen some very significant results achieved by the RGPF. In fact, for the very first time this year, we're on track, we're on course to solve over 80% of all crimes reported to the RGPF. I want to say that again, and I want to say it slower. For 2025, we are on course for the very first time in the history of the RGPF to solve over 80% of all crimes reported to the RGPF. Now that's a very significant feat. In comparison to our colleagues across the region, who in most countries can only talk about the 30 and 40%, here in Grenada, we are talking 80%. We have seen contraction in certain categories of crimes. We have been able to take a significant number of illegal firearms off the street, as Commissioner has indicated, and we have had massive drug fines in 2025. We expanded our community policing outreach and built capacity in various sectors. One of our main priorities coming into 2025 was to deliver on government's strategic goal of safer communities, and our intention to increase our solvent rate from mid-70s, where we have been for the last few years, to 80%, as I indicated earlier on. We know Carnival 2025 was the biggest ever. Coupled with some other major activities that we have had to police, we met all the expectations that was expected of us, and we deliver on all of the goals and intentions that we had to deliver on. Nonetheless, 2025 presented some challenges to us. Commissioner spoke about some of the activities that we have had. We have had the African Caribbean Summit, Carnival, as I indicated, the biggest that we have seen so far. We have had cricket, and we have had a number of other major activities. One would anticipate that with such a year, likely crime would be on the rise and solvability would have been low. We've seen the adverse effect of that. We have seen a contraction in various categories of crime, and we have seen increased solvability in all matters reported to us. Our efforts in 2025 have seen a 62.5% reduction in homicide cases and significant contractions in other categories of crimes, which I'm going to come to a little later. Our policing effort in 2025 was led by intelligence. Our policing strategy was led by intelligence-led policing, which reduced crime by shifting from reactive to proactive policing. We have moved away from the way we solve crime in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s to a whole new disposition in 2025. We've been able to use data collected to identify crime patterns, hotspots, and prolific offenders, and then strategically deploying resources and targeted interventions for maximum impact. Preventing crimes before they happen rather than just responding to crime. We are a more proactive approach towards policing in 2025. It focuses our limited police resources on high-risk individuals, locations, and criminal activities. We were able to disrupt crime by anticipating and disrupting criminal behavior because we have been following the mantra and the principles of intelligence-led policing. In 2025, we focused very heavily on human intelligence and technology. And the marrying and combination of those two have seen significant reduction in a number of areas. I indicated before that we have had 62.5% contractions in homicide reported to us. And significant to note is that we have solved all 10 of the murders that are reported to us in 2025. 10 is too much. But when you compare Grenada with the rest of our neighboring islands, this is just a drop in the bucket. Our neighbors to the north, they're already into the 60s. I don't want to talk about our neighbors to the south, they're into the hundreds. Grenada, we're fortunate that we've only had 10 homicides and we're able to solve all 10. We have seen contractions in various other categories of crime. We're realizing a 23.8% contraction in all harm offenses for 2025. We have not yet crunched the numbers completely for 2025, so we are speaking up to the third quarter of the year. So we still have 3 months data to input to give us our overall statistics. But up to the third quarter of the year, September, we're seeing contraction of 23.8% in all harm offenses. Significant to note that in the last few years, sexual offenses has been one of our Achilles heels. We have struggled to be able to keep our sex offenses down, but this year we're reporting at this point a 23.8% contraction, a 39% contraction in all sexual related matters. And we are seeing a 43% contraction in property crimes. Property crimes have been the category of crimes that has, in leaps and bounds over the years, has been the leader in all categories of matters reported to the police. In 2025, the pendulum has shifted. We are seeing the needle trending in the opposite direction, and we are very hopeful. As we close out the year 2025, we are hoping that most of other categories of crimes will reduce and will continue to put ourselves on the map as being one of the safest destinations, not only in the region, but in the world. And that phrase has been bantered about several times, but Grenada being the safest destination, This is not just a talk. The data bears us out. The statistics bears us out. The comparative analysis between Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean region speaks to the fact or support the fact that Grenada is by far one of the safest destinations, not only in the Caribbean, but in the entire world. In 2025, we adhere to our established operational strategies, prioritizing priority of life model, leveraging technology and fostering community through communication and collaboration. We start every year with some strategic goals and build into government strategic objectives, as well as some of our own that we hope to accomplish on the safety, security, and crime reduction front, and that we have done very successfully in 2025. These goals are shared with our senior managers across the force, and expectations are discussed. The efforts of the RGPF, though led by some departments, and I want to single out CID, Drug Squad, the RRU, but by and large, it was a collective effort of all departments, all units, and all men and women that made the safety of Grenada and Grenadians what it was, or what it is in 2025. We've learned some lessons in 2025. Key lessons from this year that will influence our future policing operation involve adapting to a more digital world. Crimes are more digitally committed as opposed to years gone by. And we have been able to match the digitization of what is happening not only in Grenada but in the world. Commissioner delved a little bit into some departments. We have been able to build out a digital forensic unit. We have the capacity now to go far, deep, and wide into every electronic gadget that is used to commit crime. We will find you, and if you delete it, we will be able to find it again. We prioritize community engagement in 2025, addressing workforce challenges and focusing heavily on officers' wellness. All of these contributed to the success that we have seen in 2025. Information sharing and joint operation with partners like the US and regional bodies significantly boosted our efforts and our chances in 2025. We have been able to leverage the partnership that we have had both locally, regionally, and internationally. Interagency cooperation has played a very significant role in the RGPF success in 2025. Police cooperation was paramount in achieving our results in 2025. Our successes include high crime solving rate, which I indicated before, lower crimes in several major categories, and the peace enjoyed by all were due to the collective efforts of community policing partnership. I want to take the opportunity now to say the achievements of the RGPF in 2025 must not be seen in the context of law enforcement only. Had it not been for you, the members of the public, had it not been for the cooperation that we share, had it not been for the many tips that we receive, had it not been for the many CCTV video footages that were made available to us, we would not be in the enviable position that we are in now. As the lead for crime in the RGPF, I want to take the opportunity to thank you, the members of the public, for the way you partnered with us and the support that you provided to us in 2025 that allowed us to be able to be talking about the successes that we have had. I want to go on record to also say how much I believe in the team at the Criminal Investigation Department led by ASP Hall. I believe in the men and women that lead the crime fighting effort in the RGPF. You have delivered in 2025. To the RRU, you have matched the efforts of the CID. To the drug squad, you're on par with what has been happening. And those supportive departments like the DFU, Criminal Records Office, the Prosecution Department, the Traffic Department, and all other departments, hats off to you. You have really made Grenada proud. You have really made us at the executive level of the force proud. And as I end, I want to say thank you very much to the internal partners, the external partners, and you, the members of the public. Merry Christmas to all of you. I await your questions.
Thank you so much, ACP Vanny Cohen. What a year for the RGPF. We want to thank you for what you've been doing, and especially the communities, the community policing. I think that has been helping tremendously as well. I now move to ASP Randall Batiste to give you some updates on the traffic situation for the next couple of days for Grenada, for the South especially.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and a pleasant good morning to the viewing and listening public to this important press conference. As the moderator mentioned, I will be outlining some of the traffic plans for the remainder of the Yuletide season, focusing mainly on today, Christmas Eve, and Old Year's, the 31st of December 2025. So I go straight into it and give you some of our plans for today, today, Christmas Eve. As of 7 a.m. this morning, we started our operations in the town of St. George, where we have increased our police presence with the expectation of a heavy increase in the volume of vehicular and pedestrian traffic. There are officers at all the different intersections in and around the town of St. George, that including number 1 point, the number 2 point. And the main reason for that is for us to ensure that we deal effectively and efficiently with the managing of the heavy pedestrian and vehicular traffic that is expected during the entire day. And this operation will be consistent throughout the entire day onto the night until all activities are concluded in and around the town of St. George. We expect to go as far as 1 a.m. tomorrow, please God, if the needs arise. In addition to that, you will see officers performing mobile patrol around town, motorcycle patrol around town, mobile patrol in the outside perimeter of the town, and that mobile patrol will be focusing on all different offenses, so the driving without license, the illegal parking on the roadway. We will be doing some random breathalyzer testing, so we want to encourage persons who intend to drive to don't consume any form of alcohol, or if you intend to consume alcohol, then you get a designated driver. We'll also have radar checks being conducted to ensure that persons drive within the speed limit in the areas where we expect speeding to take place, because one of our mandates at Traffic Department is to do whatever is required to make our roads safe for all its users. Just to move a bit to all years, we'll have a similar approach in terms of our operational posture in and around the town of St. George for all years, but the public should expect some diversion in traffic, some traffic management at different areas in St. George's, and I'm speaking here of Springs, Richmond Hill, Monjelu. As we know, there are a number of activities that will be taking place in those areas, which is nothing new to our public. So please expect some traffic arrangements. Such arrangements will be released not in the near distance future through our CRD, the department. So we continue to look forward to your full cooperation, and we want to thank the members of we want to thank everyone from the motoring public for the cooperation that they have given to us in 2025. And I want to take this opportunity also to thank the men and women of the Traffic Department for their continuous support, their commitment, hard work, and dedication to duty and the performance in 2025, and look forward to the continuous support in 2026. I also want to take this opportunity to wish each and everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and look forward to your continuous cooperation in 2026. Thank you.
And thank you to ASP Batiste for your comments there. I want to also encourage our citizens, the drivers, to not only exercise caution, but a little patience. And maybe if you don't need to take the car into town, maybe you could park in Tantine and walk over to town. Do like me, you know, I did that today and I'm very proud. So thank you. I see we have two media colleagues online. Kalistra Fari, I see your hand. At this time, I will invite you to ask your question.
Good morning, and thank you. Just let me get to a quieter spot. Sorry, President. Okay. Good morning to the panel. Mr. Batiste, you are correct. I see your efforts in town. I drove through, and your men are there, and the traffic is flowing very well, at least while I was going through. Now, my question, I want to find out whether or not the 80% solve rate that the police speaks of, does that also include traffic violations, traffic offenses? Are we still including the hundreds of traffic accidents into the statistics and the numbers? Also, can I get a bit of a breakdown on this 30-something% decrease in sexual crimes in terms of what amount of that accounts for child sex abuse cases? And Commissioner of Police, I would like you to answer that particular one for me on the issue of the 2 meetings that have been held here in Grenada this year involving high-level U.S. officials, and given what is happening in the Southern Caribbean, what can you tell us about any changes in the cooperation and arrangements between the United States and Grenada, arrangements that the United States shares with countries in the Caribbean basin?
We'll take the traffic question first. ASP?
Thank you very much for your question, Ms. Ferre. The 80% that we spoke of does not include traffic offenses. We treat with traffic offenses separately. We will have the entire statistics for traffic at the end of the year as to what we receive in terms of serious accidents, fatalities, tickets issued. That will be a separate press conference at some point when we do our national statistics. So the 80% does not include traffic offenses, to answer your question. The second question you asked is about a breakdown on the sexual offenses. When I speak of sexual offenses, I'm speaking about all categories of sexual offenses, whether it's rape, incest, defilement, indecent assault, all categories. I do not have, as we speak, the numbers per individual category with me, but I do have those statistics and can make those available at any time other than this morning. I do have them, but unfortunately, I did not itemize them for this press conference. I collectively had the numbers of the 39%, but you can easily find that from me at some point going forward.
Okay.
Ms. Ferrer, thank you for the second question. The third question, sorry. I want to assure the general public the security cooperation between the United States government and the RGPA remains very strong. Just recently we had a handover ceremony where a firearm management system was handed over right in the very room by, as a direct support from the United States government. The principal officer was in the engagement along with CARICOM Impacts, and there was another agency represented here. Mines Advisory Group. So to answer the question, it continues to remain a very strong relationship that is between the United States government and the RGPF as it relates to our security cooperation. And a lot is already in the pipeline by way of training and support from the U.S. government coming into 2026.
Thank you so much, Commissioner, for your response. I also see a hand from Linda Straker. Go ahead with your question at this time.
Good morning to you and the panel. I have quite a few number of questions. I hope I'll be able to get around to asking all of them. My first question, I'm going to start with the data. Mr. Cohen mentioned about that high solvency rate. Can you tell us what is the rate for financial crimes?
I do not have that specific statistics. As I indicated before, I accumulated all of the statistics to get to the final number, but that information is available and can be made available at some point.
I hope I can get them today because I'm going to send a note on to you at the end of it. Okay, my other question is, with regard to homicide crime that you presented, you said that there were 10. Now, a few years ago, every time there is a homicide, we in the media would get a little note saying that this has happened. For the past couple of years, we have not been getting them as we used to. So when you mentioned that there were 10, are you in a position to say who are the 10? And can you tell us what is the status of Mr. Nealon's, former Senator Nealon Franklin, death, please? Is it classified as a homicide?
Let me take the first part of your question first. I don't think it is prudent for me to speak about the 10 publicly like that. I think that's a conversation we can have on it rather than putting that information out to the world. So that's what I want to deal with with that. It's unfortunate that you have indicated that you have not been getting information from us, because whenever there is a homicide, I know our community relations department puts out a release. And I can vouch for that because I am on their mailing list and I do get it every time there is one. In fact, it is my responsibility to ensure that one goes out, and I know that it happens every time we have a homicide. On Neelan's matter, I do not want to speak specific to Neelan's matter, except to say that this matter is still under investigation. It's a matter that we've been assisted with both locally and regionally in terms of some of the labs that we have been working with. It's a very complex matter. That's all I'll say on it. At some point, we will be able to provide some final decision when all of the results are in. It is still being investigated. I have seen a number of media articles accumulating, if you will, the results of our investigation. I do not want to say that it is untrue. I don't know where this information is coming from. But from the RGPF, I can tell you this matter is wide open. It is still being investigated. A number of work are currently being done, both here at home and, as I say, through regional labs and elsewhere. Our Director of Public Prosecution is leading that investigation, is directing that investigation. And at some point, when he feels comfortable that he has all that he needs, he will address the nation, putting that information out. There is no secrecy about this matter. It's just professionalism. It is not proper for us to be speaking about a matter that is currently being investigated, that all of the tributaries that you're hearing about, we want to ensure that when we speak with definitive answers, with the data, the results, the testing, the lab, the investigation to back what we're saying. So it's prematurely to speak about it. Now, there's an aspect of the question that you asked, whether it is being treated as a homicide. At this point, Mr. Rika, we have not categorized this incident to be homicide, suicide, or accidental. That investigation, as I indicated, is continuous, is ongoing. When those investigations are complete, we will be able to make a classification and we will inform the nation accordingly. At this point, we do not have a classification of this incident.
Thank you for that. My follow-up question to that, you mentioned homicide, suicide, or accidental. I didn't hear any mention about suicide cases. Are you in a position to tell us the number of suicide grenades the police recorded for 2025?
I have just made these statistics available to a few students who are writing their thesis and have requested that information from us. And unfortunately, again, Mr. Rika, I do not have this data with me. But again, you can always get this data. It's public information. We have been making it available to a number of students over the last couple of weeks.
Okay, well, that's exactly. I could have a lot of mail to write after this press conference. For now, my other follow-up is, earlier in the year, we would have learned, and just learned, a lot of people would have experienced it, because from where I live, I also heard the explosion. The telescope explosion. Can you tell us what is, after that explosion, the Prime Minister did mention that there were other similar matters to be transported. Can you tell us now what is the outcome of the investigation conducted by the police following that investigation? What is the status of the other materials that had to be transported? And on the Grenada, the overall incidents, was there any occasion where Grenada had to, where the police had to remove munitions or ammunition from any location during the year gone?
Phrase the question. I'm not sure that I understand it clearly. I understand the question about the explosion in telescope, but the second part of your question in terms of munition movement and so on, what specifically?
Is there any occasion in the past few months where members of the police force had to remove unexploded munitions from any location in Grenada?
I see. Right. So the first part of your question, which is the explosion at Telescope, we've received all the reports surrounding the incident, and we've concluded that there was some error in the method used to destroy the explosive that was considered obsolete. And the error is something that is debated between whose fault that it might have been. Because of the contents of the explosive material and the type of explosive material, the method of destruction was well within the accepted best practice, that is to burn the obsolete ammunition. However, in doing so, there was an element, a container that contained some other explosive material that was not opened. In other words, the container remained closed, and so by the heat, it actually exploded and caused the other ones that were lighted to explode as well, causing that explosion. So it was a very unfortunate incident, and we are continuing to look at areas that may have caused that error to occur and to actually fix that in going forward. In terms of munition and the movement of munition, there is a standard practice in the way that we move. I don't know of any instances outside of that particular incident where we had to move any material, explosive or otherwise, from any location to any other parts of Grenada. Any munition that comes into the country, which are in most cases small arms, like small arms ammunition, those are coming. They come into the port, the customs do their checks, the police also conduct the checks and collect those and take them into our storeroom. So if that is the movements that you are asking about, yes, we do that on a regular basis, where persons are given permits to bring in ammunition into the country. The police collect them and keep them in the store until the application is made to the Commissioner of Police to draw down on the stores, and the ammunition are issued to those persons who they come to. And those are very small quantities that we speak of. Yes?
Thank you. Callistra, if you have a final question, we'll take it at this point, and then I will invite members of the head table to close off this press conference this morning. Callistra, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Thank you. Give me 2 seconds to move away from a noisy place that I am at. Okay. I'm going to follow up on those questions that Linda asked regarding the telescope explosion. Based on my investigation, the police who was responsible for escorting the expired explosives to be disposed of at Telescope did not ride in the vehicle containing the detonators. It is my understanding that the detonators and the gel were transported separately, and that the police officer chose to ride in his own vehicle when he was supposed to be there to guard and protect this as per regulations or law, whatever. Can the police speak to that? Because Assistant Commissioner Prince seems to be saying something totally different. It appears that, from what I understand, that the police breached the regulations, that the provisions that were in place for that. And has the police done anything to improve the conditions for storage of these explosive elements that are held by the police? You hold all of the explosives into the world, into the country, and I'd like to know whether or not the situation has improved at the SSU camp where they're being held, because they were being held in some very bad condition, which led to the deterioration of those particular explosives. And finally, on this matter, can you clarify whether or not a member of staff of the Gravel and Concrete was questioned or implicated in what happened there? Because there seems to be evidence showing that the detonator was deliberately thrown on the fact, contrary to what Mr. Prince has just said.
Ms. Faria, you're not correct in terms of the way in which security are provided in any form of movement. The idea of being in the vehicle with the explosive or being in the vehicle with the blasting caps is not necessarily the right or the correct procedure. That can be one of the considerations as well, but usually escorts are usually in either a follow-up vehicle, a backup vehicle. That's how you normally will escort those stuff. You'd always have a second or third vehicle with the security personnel to follow through with that. So it's not always the case where the person have to be in the vehicle with the stuff. They can also be in a follow-up vehicle to provide the same security escort. In terms of the whole procedure, the expert in dealing with the explosive is not the police. The expert in dealing with the explosive is the person who has the license as a blaster's license. That is the individual who knows and has the responsibility to examine the contents of the stuff that he or she has to dispose of. They are the ones that have to set up and do what they have to do as far as that, because they are the expert. They have the blaster's license. So there's no slipping up of the police in that particular instance. It was just an error in the calculation of the individual who is the expert in using the method that he used without being aware of the fact that the blasting caps were in a separate container that was in the pile that was being destroyed. So it is not conclusive to say that the police failed in doing anything. The policeman there was only to provide security escort. The expert for the destruction of the explosive is the person who has the blaster's license to do that. And that person had to exercise the due diligence in ensuring that whatever method is used, he has full knowledge of the potential for it to have the type of effect that it had, or thereby being done in a safe and secured way. But that element was missing, and that's why the explosion occurred.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. At this time, we have, I think we've exhausted all our time for questions this morning. So now I'll invite the members of the head table to offer their closing comments, and then we close off the press conference for this morning. And in your closing, I want you to address one question. How has this year, or how will this year's progress, this year's accomplishments influence 2026 and moving forward?
Okay. Good morning to everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to just share a few things from our side in respect to the year 2025. When we started the year 2025, we continued on the pillars, on the 5 pillars that we started the year before, because the 5 pillars or strategic pillars were intended, or is intended to be a 3-year strategic plan. And the first one that we looked at was to strengthen our community, or to have community engagement, strengthening our community engagement. And we did so by establishing a few things, identifying some communities that we know that needed that sort of police intervention and police presence. We've also collaborated with non-governmental organizations and state agencies. We've had someone from the executive appointed to carry that portfolio of community policing, and also encourage the communities to set up a national advisory body. I think we still have not achieved that objective, because while we have bodies at the various divisions and communities, we needed to have a national body that could look at all the aspects of security, national security, to advise on those. I think there's still work to be done in that area. We also look at human resource management to the point and to the extent of having someone specifically assigned to carry that portfolio. And we started doing some excellent work. to the extent of identifying the need for us to have an expansion in the establishment, because we recognize that the task of the RGPF is very diverse. We have to provide personnel for Coast Guard, personnel for the Special Service Unit, personnel for immigration, personnel for fire department, while we still have the responsibility to provide personnel to do the day-to-day policing throughout the state of Grenada. So recognizing that, we move hastily to lobby with government for an expansion in the establishment, and we're looking forward to having that finalized as we speak. We talk about also collaboration with our tertiary educational areas, and we've seen some progress there where a number of our officers have been exposed to higher learning to build capacity in the area of management. A number of officers have participated in some programs with TAMCC, some programs with CDAT, some programs with I think Grace Computer School, and so we've seen officers, and even in addition to that, officers are doing their own studies. The officers doing their own studies, pursuing bachelor's degree, some are actually doing master's degree, and so on. So we are seeing a building out of our human capacity that will allow us to see management of the RGPF in the safe hands of those individuals. We also see in the recent time the recruitment again of just this year 61 additional officers joined the ranks of the Royal Grenada Police Force. We've seen promotion also as an element of success for us throughout the year, although it's not finalized yet, but we still believe that before the end of the year we can see some promotion happening within the organization. And we have been told that also there is the issue of the regularization of our unestablished staffing in the next 2026. We also saw the upgrade of our physical plant. Our police stations, we've seen Grenville being relocated, and excellent facility. I think the environment there is really inviting for work and for people to visit and feel comfortable that their matters are going to be addressed. We have some more, the fact that we are here now having this conference is testament of the retrofitting of our physical plant. So we are seeing those things happening, and there are more areas. Police station, Victoria Police Station is currently being worked on. St. David's Police Station is being looked at the moment. Guelph, there's some work to be done at the Guelph Police Station. We are currently looking at a relocation for the station to allow some work to start at Guelph. And of course, we are looking at the possibility of establishing a satellite station somewhere between Grenville and St. George's, St. David's and St. George's, where we can put another satellite station. We also look at technical support from various agencies, and we have been given support from the Ministry of Social Development, where we have counselors that can be available to assist us from time to time to speak to officers and also to guide them and provide some psycho support for them. We also look at the crime reduction strategy, and again, Mr. Cohen spoke about the community policing engagement, and this is something that we believe is helpful in us being able to succeed in the crime stats that we've just heard him mention, and also the issue of leveraging technology. We talk about the the automated fingerprint system. We talk about digital forensic science. We also talk about drone technology. All these things are the elements that will give support to our crime reduction strategies. And we're looking forward to building out more on that in the coming year, especially where it relates to forensic science and also digital forensics. And of course, last but not least, the enhancing of the traffic management and road safety. We believe that there's a lot that needs to be done. And in collaboration with the Grenada Transport Commission, we believe that there's a lot to roll out as far as traffic management is concerned. And there are conversations between the Commission and the RGPF in terms of how we would roll that out. I think there is a lot of buying into technology that would help us to understand and manage all of what obtains as far as traffic and transportation is concerned. So thank you, and I just want to take the opportunity to wish everybody Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deputy Commissioner. And I leave the final word on this matter for the Commissioner of Police, Randy Connaught. Would you close, and in your close, please highlight how we intend as Ministry of National Security to continue working and partnering with our partners overseas, international and regional partners.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Press Secretary, and thank you for allowing for the final word. It's going to be shoulder to shoulder going forward as we take the security of Grenada forward. Certainly, our international and regional partners have given a commitment as we move forward to allow for the expansion of our abilities in treating with all issues of crime. And of course, having to respond to crime is one thing, but of course, I think the most important thing here now is to retard all sorts of crime and to bring confidence in the public that we are removing the fear of crime, which is, of course, worse than crime itself. So regionally and internationally, the cooperation will be strengthened as we move forward. But I want to also center my final words on how we intend to do so as a nation. Certainly, the RGPF will be working shoulder to shoulder with the citizens. We cannot do it alone. We have realized and recognized the value of community partnership and cooperation. It has borne fruits significantly so this year, and it is a good place to start 2026. Mr. Prince spoke to capacity building and the acquisition of modern technology to support our policing efforts. We call that force multipliers. This would help us to strategically build out on our capabilities going forward and to make sure that we optimize our policing effort, realizing the fact that we do have our limitations. So we have to be very strategic in our outlook going forward. Most importantly, in treating with the nuance of traffic and road safety. We don't want the issue of traffic and road accidents to be a public safety issue. We have had a fair share of accidents over the years, and given the fact that we have significant intake, I heard some numbers called yesterday of the amount of vehicles that were imported for 2025, and we can expect the same going into 2026 with persons taking advantage of the concession granted for hybrid vehicles and e-vehicles altogether. So this is a challenge for us, given the fact too that the infrastructure is not likely to grow with road expansions. You did make the clarion call, Madam Press Secretary, for persons to become a little more tolerant, given the fact that with the uptake in vehicular traffic on the road, your patience and understanding would definitely be required, even more so at this time and going forward. Road rage is something that can lead to criminal offenses. I've seen a video last night where a simple road rage event escalated into some violent outcomes. And certainly this is not representative of our people here in Grenada. The issue of property safety, Mr. Corwin commented on it. This has been our Achilles' for quite a number of years, and further engagement with property owners and the corporate community to target harden. Quite a lot of times when we visit crime scenes, we realize some simple measures could have been taken just to avert a simpler camera, a light, a dog. Cutting the fence and overhanging could have made quite a difference. But we obviously ask that you be your neighbor's keeper and you provide the information. We have proven that we are confidential because I can tell you this year, and from my own personal experience, when we have had incidents, the number of calls, videos that have been shared with me that I was able to pass on to my colleague at CID, and within record-breaking time. Mr. Corden didn't mention that, but we had some record-breaking solving of major crimes. CID, they're known to not playing by the rules in this regard, because in law enforcement we say the first 48. Mr. Hall and his team told me they have reduced it to the first 48. I was a bit apprehensive. First 24, sorry, first 24, my apologies. But, I doubted it, but they have proven me wrong on multiple occasions. So I want to thank the team, not just at CID, because everything revolves around the collective effort of this organization. It's not a singular effort, as I said before. Another area that will be heavily focused on in 2025 is that of the fire department. Mr. Prince alluded to that. A significant investment will go into the fire department. We have already lobbied our ministry, and we have seen some traction in that regard. So we're going to build out incrementally as we move forward. But obviously, one of the biggest boasts for us, I'm hoping that as we report around this time next year, is that of our marketing of the RGPF. Gone are the days when RGPF was just a fallback plan for persons who couldn't find a job. We want to show that there is a serious career path within the RGPF. You can specialize in many disciplines, and this is where we are leading. We have a digital forensic expert who is on call by the entire region. She goes within the region and even extra regionally to provide training and provide lectures on digital forensics and investigations. So we want to ensure that the RGPF stands on its own 2 feet going forward, and students coming out of TAMCC can see that as a viable career path going forward. We have many professionals that can professions that can be acquired while within the RGPF. Coast Guard for one, where the engineering field can be explored. And lastly, for our own officers, your health and wellness and well-being will be highly catered for. The Health and Wellness Center will be aggressively pursued. And of course, how we treat with trauma counseling. For over the years, officers witness very gruesome activities. They have to be the punching bag for a number of victims in very serious cases, and by and large, they do not have any place to relieve themselves. So how we treated our officers would be a top priority item for us. So with this, I would just want to thank the citizens of Grenada, whether those of you who live on island and those in the diaspora, and of course, our friends in the media. We want to work closer with you, friends in the media, going into 2026, and obviously to share this experience with you so that you can be a part of us and our journey. I want to take the opportunity again to wish you a Merry Christmas, a bright and prosperous New Year, and please walk with us as we take the curtains down on 2025 and ensure the safety of all of our citizens and visitors alike will be realized as we move forward. And to our visitors, we welcome you to our shows. Look forward to having you back. Again, Grenada is the safest destination on the planet. Mr. Cohen actually corrected me when I say one of the safest. Well, thank you, Mr. Cohen. It is the safest destination on the planet. So once again, best wishes, Merry Christmas, and a bright and prosperous 2026.
Thank you so much, Commissioner of Police Randy Connaught, and your distinguished members of the Royal Grenada Police Force. I must say congratulations as well. And of course, throughout 2025, the Royal Grenada Police Force has worked tirelessly to strengthen its operational capacity, improve service delivery, and enhance the welfare of its officers. In recognition of their invaluable service, the Government of Grenada implemented a long-awaited pay and grade adjustments, the relocation of the Grenville Police Station that was in dire need of repairs, and of course the renovating of police stations across Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, ensuring better accessibility, improved working conditions for the officers and the public alike when they come into the police stations. And of course, one of the most transformative projects of 2025 was the relocation of the state-of-the-art police headquarters on the picturesque Carenage, equipped to meet the demands of the modern policing. So I want to congratulate the RGPF and of course the Government of Grenada. These achievements underscore our government's dedication to building a safer Grenada while investing in the men and women who serve on the front lines of national security. As we look ahead to 2026, the Ministry of National Security remains steadfast in its mission to protect and serve with integrity, professionalism, and accountability, Together, we will continue to strengthen partnerships with communities, embrace the technologies before us, and uphold the law of the land. On behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Information, and of course the Ministry of National Security, I extend warm Christmas greetings to all Grenadians at home and abroad. May this festive season bring peace, joy, and togetherness. And to every household, may the spirit of goodwill guide us into 2026. Thank you so much for joining us, Grenada, and have a great Christmas and a bright and prosperous 2026.
Thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today, and join us again next Sunday when we have another equally interesting program to share with you and your friends and family. So, Happy New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas season. Happy holidays, and see you again next year when we'll do it all over again. The Heartbeat is in the process of producing a year in review. So that'll be rather interesting. We'll be taking snippets of every Sunday that we've been on the air and sharing those snippets with you. That should be a rather interesting program. And that will come to you, couldn't say right now, but it will get to you. So have a great Sunday afternoon and continue to enjoy the holiday season, and Happy New Year when it comes around. Thank you, and have a great Sunday afternoon. Goodbye.